Everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today we want to talk a bit more out of our own perspective, how we use ICOR. We are praying it every day, preaching it every day to our community, to our members. This is how you do it. And we see all these gurus out there telling you how to do it, but rarely they really apply it to their own life and business, because what they do is selling a course and selling a methodology, and that's their business. So therefore, it's not really a use case to apply to their own life anymore. But for us, it's the opposite. We are walking the walk together with you every day. And Paco and I, we've been walking on our own for decades until we met, realizing we have these overlaps in our conclusions when it comes to productivity. This eventually led to the ICOR methodology. And well, since then, we keep using it ourselves. And as an example, we thought the launch of our ICOR Journey Starter Kit, which includes a PDF with over 100 pages, a whole course with 11 video lessons, 11 magic slides, and 11 growth assignments, all the summaries for the video lessons, all done in, well, let's say, what would you say, Paco? Was it less than 3 weeks? I would say 2 weeks. Yeah. I mean, essentially,
2 weeks,
the whole work was done 2 weeks. And this is something, if we wouldn't have ICOR in place and all the tools in the back end working perfectly with each other, this wouldn't have been possible. And that's why let's talk about how we accomplished this, well, highly polished product within 2 weeks, just using the ICOR methodology. Paco.
Correct.
Hi.
And with all those outcomes and deliverables, that I think that's an important thing, okay? Because we are thinking about that PDF, that it's, well, I could say pretty well designed, okay, with more than 120 pages, I think, more or less.
And
it's
we
a
want
number
to,
of pages that you can imagine.
Sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to include here, before we forget, right? 7 people involved. It's also team-based. It's not like I'm sitting here in my room and creating a PDF myself together with Paco. No,
Correct.
It is a real business. It's real people working there. And this is all showing productivity end-to-end in a bigger scope too.
Yes, people from different profiles, because we are talking about, well, business strategists, designers, developers, and many different type of people working in different languages, people working asynchronously in different parts of the world. So, well, I think that we have here some main ingredients, okay, to create a chaotic thing. And by the way, all those people doing some other things, not just being fully focused on the product, because I think that's another thing, okay? Because it's pretty easy to be just fully focused for 2 weeks, disappear off the world, being fully focused in just delivering this thing, and that's it. No, the thing is that the world keeps running and spinning, and all these 7 people were doing many other things, okay? So that's also something to mention, okay? So we want to, because what we have detected is that many people are not aware, okay, of the workflow that we follow, okay? And with a real use case. And I think that here we can start talking about all the processes, okay, how the workflow went, the tools that we were using at that moment. And I think that will clarify a lot, talking about connecting the dots, okay, between the different systems, because here we're going to talk about all the systems, okay? We're going to talk about all the 4 main areas of the ICOR framework, which are the PKM, Personal Knowledge Management, PPM, Task Management, going to the business area, Business Project Management, Business Knowledge Management, BKM, and BPM. So here we got everything, overlapping things. So, well, I think that it's, we weren't aware until we were discussing about this podcast episode that we say, man, we've gone through it without even noticing it, no? And I think that that's the most important thing, talking about having a productivity system in place, because everyone knew what they had to do. And I think that that's impressive, okay? And, that's why we are sharing all this process, because we think that it can bring some interesting points of view for the people.
That's really the approach to building in public, if you like, right? We built this now in public by sharing the insights, and we really go behind the scenes to start on where it sparked to create the starter kit, right, for free. But it was also already based on ICOR. So those who are already knowing the ICOR methodology and all the ins and outs, they know that we have quarterly goal reviews, quarterly reviews where we analyze our goal setting and things like that. We have an idea incubator where we have things stored that are ideas from the team and that we pick up then in these quarterly reviews. And this was the spark, right, Paco? We had the quarterly review. We concluded that everything is in place that we need. We have a newsletter. We have our Paperless Movement membership with all the content. We have the Inner Circle coaching program. All these things are in place. All we need is more traffic. And therefore, we thought, okay, we have the newsletter sign up. But just thinking about our own, right, going to the websites, if I just see a newsletter there, you can sign up to a weekly newsletter, things like that. This is not really motivating me to sign up. And that's where we came to the thing that we had already in mind 2 years ago, but it was not the right moment to create an actual free product up front that brings value, that really brings value. And we mentioned already the 120 pages of the guide itself and all this for free. This is really crazy. But from there, it was going very quickly. So because the whole ICOR cascade was going after that. We had the conclusion in the goal setting. We said our ultimate goal is to increase traffic in the last quarter. We thought, okay, we're doing already everything we can do when it comes to traffic. We create videos on YouTube. We create articles on Medium and on DeepStash. We engage with on social media. There's not much more we can do. But what we can do is make it more attractive to go to the website. And therefore, this product came up. And then we went from the goal setting, which happened in Goalscape, to ClickUp. And there we decided to create the project related to this goal. Again, we're already speaking here in the ICOR methodology. So there's no goal without a related project. And then when we had the project, we started laying out the tasks. So the project is the non-actionable container holding the actionable items, which are the individual tasks. These are in ICOR the output elements. That's what we call them. You have the goal, project, and now we're in the task level. And then, well, how did it go from there, Paco? You decided, because we said we won't use AI to just generate a guide. That's something,
yes, but
it's nonsense. Was I too fast?
I would like to... I think so. I think so because there are previous steps that I would like to comment, because here is when people can be aware of how the concepts, the workflows, all the different names that we use, okay, why they make sense, because that's the important thing, okay? They all make sense, but people need to understand them, okay?
Then let's go from the goal, from the quarterly review down to the project creation.
We have in the past, I would say, in the previous, I don't know if 1 year and a half or so, several failures talking about delivering this free piece of content. Okay, we have tried everything. We tried a free membership thing. We tried, many different free things that didn't work at all, okay? Because one of our weaknesses, because we have weaknesses, okay? People need to understand that we are not perfect, that not everything works amazingly well, that we suffer, that there are painful situations. Well, we are human beings, okay? So that's why we were forcing the things quarter after quarter about thinking time to discuss this freebie, okay? This free product that will allow the people to really understand the value that we bring to the table, because this has been always a weakness, for us, because the moment that people buy our products, they are delighted. They say that it's life-changing, that they had never seen something like this. But the thing is, what about the people who never bought one of our products? And we were suffering that because people weren't aware. And by the way, most of the people that we ask this question, they say, man, I wasn't aware of the real added value that you were going to bring to the table.
And
it didn't matter about the product, okay? Any of our products, the feedback was exactly the same. So that was a painful situation, okay?
And I want to add something here, sorry to interrupt, but this is perfect, as we also got the feedback that people suffer to explain it to other people. As productivity end-to-end is very complex. ICOR simplifies it, but it's still complex to really explain it. And that was another trigger, right, Paco?
Yeah, correct. So we were quarter after quarter trying to achieve that goal. And here it's how things start making sense, okay? Because the thing is that there was a moment that Tom watched a YouTube video from one guy. I cannot remember his name. And then he shared, we have a channel, okay, a bucket, okay, to share that type of content because he saw how this guy make an impactful increase talking about traffic, okay, and even conversion, okay, and well, he shared it with me in that channel following the ICOR workflow, and well, I assigned to me that video. I delayed for 2 weeks, I think, because I didn't have the time to watch it until I finally watched it. And because I want to mention here that the capturing beast was essential here. The capturing beast is one workflow inside the ICO methodology that helps you tell you the things that you should be paying attention to, okay? And why that video resonated to Tom? Well, because it was part of the capturing beast, because it was one of our goals and we needed, okay, to find out something related to that freebie, okay? So that fully focused approach to the outer wall is what created that video really resonated to Tom. So he shared it with me, okay? And the moment that I watched it, I said, well, what the heck? It resonates to me too. So, boom. I then created all this. We have this system, okay, on ClickUp. It's our project management system and the one we use to manage both areas, okay? Business knowledge management, the information world related to the team, plus the business project management, that is the action world related to the team, okay? So in that information system on ClickUp, he shared the video and assigned it to me. I started delaying it, okay, because I knew that it was important because it was directly connected to one of our main goals. So we can see that alignment, okay? That's what we always call, actions that matters, okay? So we need to pay attention to that because it's directly linked to one of our business strategic goals. And then, well, I watch it and I say, what the heck, we need to discuss this. And then, boom, we use another workflow that is the agenda meeting workflow, okay, where I send it to the agenda meeting thing that it's, well, one bucket, another bucket that we have there, where in every weekly meeting that we have, Tom and myself, discuss the things that are there, okay? So there we discuss the video and we try to make sense out of it, okay? How we can do something that it's similar. In this case, this guy have published a 6-hour video, okay, talking about, well, his stuff. And we say, well, man, but for us, I think that we can do something different, and that's what we agreed on, okay? That we could do something based on, because the holistic view was delivering something that most of the people or all the people will charge for it, okay? No matter, okay, that some people would avoid buying a product. That was the risky thing, but say, well, man, if you want the people to show you real added value, well, put it there for free, and then people will see and decide if it makes sense or not to keep, okay, going through your products and services, okay? And based on that, we started doing what we know how to do, that is making something that it's pedagogical, okay? That's why we created this starter kit that has a PDF that brings a structure, clarity, and a sequential path to the people to really understand the ICOR. We did what we know best, that is delivering videos, okay, so that people understand and engage the content, and also the video can give a different approach, a different perspective out of the same concepts and workflows, okay? Also bring clarity and simplicity by using magic slides, okay? So for every lesson we deliver, because this is what we do in the ICOR journey. Obviously, this was synthesized, okay? Because the ICOR journey is more than 50 concepts, but here we were sharing, I think that the 4 or 5 main concepts of ICOR. So it's at 10%, okay? But the person who consumes the content is enjoying the exact same experience, talking about the quality, the order, the sequentiality, the clarity, the outcomes, okay? That's why we force the things, okay, to also create growth assignments to help the people think about each of the different concepts based on their particular use case, okay? And that's what we did, okay? So once we decided that is when we enter, okay, how do we put this into action, okay? Now you have seen how the capturing this makes sense, how Tom got that YouTube video, how it was shared with me, the team in this case, just one person for this type of information, how I watch it and I constantly delay it, okay? Because when you know that something is important and you cannot consume properly a piece of content or whatever, you can perfectly delay. The thing is that it has to be without any effort, okay? And guaranteeing that it's under control. And those are the workflows that we develop and implement by using ICOR, okay? I keep delaying, it keeps emerging constantly, okay? And I keep delaying until I can do a proper use of that piece of content, okay? That I was watching it carefully during the weekend and with no interruptions, taking some notes, some ideas, so that the moment that Tom and myself sit together, we have done an individual consume of that piece of content, drawing our own ideas, and then it's when that agenda meeting becomes much more valuable, okay? Because we have thought about that piece of content, that approach from each of our perspective, and then we start sharing the things, okay? That's the moment that, for instance, a tool like Miro, okay, for brainstorming, for organizing the things, for thinking to help, the discussion be much better, is the moment that we use that, okay? And once we decide to do that, what do we do? Well, now we need to distinguish between the different output elements. We got work streams, we got projects, we got operations. What the heck is this? Well, this is a project, okay? It has an outcome, that is the starter kit, and it has a start date and an end date.
And now
okay?
we are
so we
there where
the
I ended up with the project explanation. So now we added more details. So before we move on here in the business area now, I just want to clarify again. My personal knowledge management and the capturing beast, the My Life concept, all the things that we teach, is the personal knowledge management. It was the personal area. I watched this video, and by the way, I also don't remember the name, but it's the guy, the guy doing, it's the guy doing the videos for Jerry V and Alex. I never can pronounce his name, and it was in my PKM. Right? So it was in my personal knowledge management. I thought about this already. It's a long video as it is a podcast episode. So I wouldn't share this with Paco if I wouldn't think it would resonate with him. And there were so many boxes that we already ticked over the years that we are doing right. And the only thing that was in there was mentioning this freebie. So I considered sharing it with him. I shared it via the BKM, the Business Knowledge Management System, the chat inside ClickUp. So there we have a channel, interesting stuff, we call it. And there we share these kind of things. And then the other person can decide if this is really interesting or not. And then Paco assigns it to himself. And therefore, his PKM hits there, where he then, for himself, personal, thinks about this, draws his own conclusions. And that's where we ended up then again in the BKM and BPM, where we have this agenda meeting, and you know the rest of the story already. But here it's important. You see, this is where people never realize what's happening around them. You move from personal to business and from knowledge to action, all these places. And that's what the ICOR framework is representing too. And whenever you understand, when you share a piece of content, what it has an effect on the overall productivity system, this is really powerful. And this is what ICOR delivers here at best.
And it's important to highlight here how we can start splitting between the personal knowledge management and the personal project management, that is task management. Okay. Yeah. Tom wrote down jotted down his different thoughts about the video using his personal knowledge management system, in this case tool, okay, that it's Heptabase. Okay, he wrote down his ideas there. But I didn't use Heptabase, okay? For me, my PKM is Tana, okay? So I use Tana. And the thing is that as I wanted myself to force to watch the video, okay, I created a task in my personal task management system. To simplify the things, let's call it Todoist, okay? And I constantly was reminded myself about that task, okay? So I scheduled it for the weekend that I knew that I had a time slot there, and that's how I forced to consume that piece of content. So what did I do? I created the task on Todoist, okay? And in the description of the task, okay, I link to the piece of content that Tom shared with me. In this case, well, on ClickUp, any object has a link, okay? So the comment that he used to share the video has a link, and that's the link that I put in the description. So the moment that my task management system or tool in this case, because we are talking about that the tool and the system in this case is the exact same thing, okay? So I used to do is to be reminded that I needed to do something at the moment that I plan it out, okay? And when that object emerged, okay, I got all the context related, okay? The video was on the description, and then I can quickly go there and launch the video and start consuming that content and writing the things down on Tana. By the way, I link on Tana to the exact same comment, so everything, no matter if I go to Tana, to my task management system, if I go to ClickUp, everything is interconnected, and I can quickly see what Tom shared, when he shared it, well, all the contextual information to be aware, okay, to be aware of when things should happen. And that's how we always say that you don't need to take care of the system, of your productivity system, because it's the productivity system that takes care of you. And this is what's happening, okay? Tom shared his thing, I receive it, I did it properly in my personal area to force the things to make this happen.
And
okay?
Once you realize this pattern that Paco just described here, you see it all over the place, because it is very similar to processing your email inbox. So it's not like that every individual comment that I share, and those are a lot, right? For Paco, that it is really relevant to go into his personal knowledge management system or scheduling out to answer it. It stays there, assigned to him. And then he goes quick, and vice versa, obviously. And going quickly through these comments, most of them are just a reaction smiley, right? Or a quick answer. There's no need to schedule things out. And that's what people get wrong with email inboxes too, that they think, or they get recommended by others, that they should plan out every email, even if it is just 2 minutes to do something in there. It's there. But these inboxes themselves are micro task management systems themselves, and that's really important to understand here too.
Yeah, and so the moment that we decided to go for it, we created that project and start listing the different tasks, okay? Here, we start splitting the things, okay? Because that's what we do, the exact same way that Tom is responsible for, I don't know, many things. Video production, all the management of the community that we have, okay? The membership that we offer as a service. The email funnel. Well, in my case, I'm responsible for brand management, communication, product management, and creating and designing the product, because I'm the one who is in contact with the team that designs, okay, the graphical design of the product, plus the development of anything that it needs to be communicated on the website, okay? So that's the moment that we start, splitting things to make things work in parallel, okay? Because that's the power of being a team, okay? That many people assume the responsibility of the things, okay? And don't bother the other one, okay? And that's something that it's crucial, because here again, we move to the individual area again, okay? Again, the way that Tom organizes his things, well, he will explain, because I have no clue and I don't care, okay, about the tools that he uses. I just want that the things that happen in the business, in the team-related area, are done properly and are communicated properly, okay? Because here is when things becomes complex, okay? Because talking about part of the team who is responsible for the architecture of the website, for the development, for designing the different assets, okay? Talking about graphical designs and creativity. Well, those people work in a totally different project management tool, okay, that it's called Intervals, okay, and that has nothing to do with ClickUp. So the moment that we create a task there, I am the one who creates the task manually. Forget about automations, okay? Because we know that many people think that being productive is just betting on software automation, and that's not the case because the trigger, okay, everything is manual here, okay? But it's so fast that goes faster than any automation because these are specific use cases that we are not constantly repeating, like for instance, any work stream or whatever, okay? That's why we don't have software automation for those things, okay? I create tasks, just one task, okay, for the team there so that the person that is responsible in the creativity area has the connection, because the moment that I start creating all the multiple tasks on the other system, okay, I link them to that main task on ClickUp, okay? And that's important because here, as people can see, we avoid the noise, okay? The exact same way that by using personal tools, okay, we don't create noise for others. For instance, the moment that Tom is writing down his ideas about the video, he's using Heptabase, that I have no access to it and I don't see it, okay? The exact same way I use Tana, the exact same way that, because out of just one task on ClickUp, you cannot imagine all the different tasks that we generate in some other system, but that's not noise on ClickUp. So the moment that Tom goes there, he just see what he needs and wants to see. Why the heck does he need to see all the back and forth, all the comments, all the micro tasks, all the micromanagement? He forgets about that, and that's something important. Our tools need to be clean, okay? As clean as possible so that we can handle complex things, okay? Because out of this product, okay, that we develop in 2 weeks, there are a lot of subtleties, okay? I don't know how many, I didn't count them all, but I don't know how many tasks we created, because in parallel, Tom was preparing and changing the email funnel, he was preparing all the things for the membership, he was, well, doing all the videos, preparing all the scripts, using AI, well, many different things that I wasn't aware of because I was in my particular work that was creating the structure, the content of all those different pieces of content for the course, leading the team, talking about design, creativity, how we, improve the website based on that, making all the things related to development. Well, all those were perfectly synchronized, okay, so we could work in parallel, okay, asynchronously. The moment that we consider that we should be creating on that based on our levels of busyness, of energy, of all the things that affect an individual, but without losing track of the overall picture, because the moment that we go to the team communication system, we see the status of that project. At any moment, Tom or me can ask for things, how we synchronize the things. Man, how are you going with the scripts? How are you going with the videos? When do you think that you need these assets for the membership, for instance? And we made this without any meeting at all. Yeah. And for me, this is one of the things. We just had the weekly meeting because people don't believe that we just meet once per week, okay? No matter the things that we have on our hands. And that's the only meeting we had. The rest was asynchronous communication using tools, using written information, and without forcing the people to be all together to deliver a product like this that I consider that has a certain level of complexity. Obviously, we have developed much more complicated things, but the thing is delivering a product that we are proud of, a product that is directly linked to our strategic goal, okay? Delivering it on time, dedicating to it just 2 weeks, okay? And creating this outcome at the level of quality that we wanted.
It is really the thing that I want to add here. This you talked about complexity, and that's really something we see in many teams as well, where they then go into project management tools and then they try to visualize everything everybody's doing in the nitty-gritty, and this is nonsense too. That's where people start using subtasks and then sub-subtasks and sub-sub-subtasks, which is nonsense. That's then where you do work about work. You need to have the trust for the expert that you hired, that they will do their job in the best way possible, and let them do their thing with their own personal project management, productivity tools they use, where they think about these stuffs and so on. and then come back and the conclusion ends up in this high level task that you have there. If you need to have nitty gritty, and for example in work streams, this is where standard operating procedures or rather work instructions come into play. You have the high level task that gives you an idea when it starts and when it should be worked on. And then the work instructions, you just go through a checklist working on it. But it should never be a list of subtasks and then you give due dates for the individual steps and things like that. This is overkill. And that just shows again, while you say it's not complex, I'm pretty sure if other people would deliver this, it would be highly complex. And I also want to point out again something you mentioned. The business didn't stand still in the meantime. We still published videos. There was still, we still been in a community. All these things were running still on autopilot because we have very well-defined work streams, and this makes it so efficient that we can make these pushes like the past 2 weeks with new projects. And this is, everything works together. This is really amazing to see, and I'm really proud of how this works. And this just shows once again that we are not telling how people should do it. We living it every day. And Paco with his 4 businesses, there's proof with the 4 businesses working in any business. And I think it's really important also to say, Paco mentioned the team here, right? And that you pick up the task and then you go to the other project management tool. We just had in our inner circle coaching the same situation where the inner circle member said that but the team is using Jira and they're using Asana in combination and things like that. And I want to bring everything into Asana now. And that's nonsense because the IT team, for example, they are so used to using Jira and their workflows in there, forcing them now. You have to see this like their personal knowledge, their personal task manager, if you like. You should them do their thing because you interrupt their efficiency, whatever this might be the level, right? Rather have the big picture definition, the single source of truth for the big picture, like Asana, this is where we control everything, and then link out to the relevant tasks in the other systems. Exactly like Paco described it with his intervals, it's called, right? The other project management tool they're using in the agency.
Yes, because we have to take into account that these people are working in different projects, okay, not just this one that I have just described. So we cannot disrupt, okay, their system, okay, because they need to organize, okay. The thing is, one thing that we haven't mentioned, to have crystal clear defined weekly goals where people know when things needs to be achieved, okay, and that's something that we really nailed down because every single week we have 5 at least main tasks, okay, 1 per day. That is what the piece of advice that we always recommend, that is having one of those weekly goals per day, that becomes the highlight of that day, okay? And by doing that, we can perfectly understand the big picture because if we know that Tom needs a specific asset for the membership, well, we can organize the things so that the moment that he's going to do that and the moment that we have just a scope of 1 week, it's pretty easy to create those dependencies, okay? That order of the things. And I also think that having a well-defined team communication system allows to do these things quickly because nothing falls through the cracks. I think that we forced the things to launch last Friday, and at that moment, and there was 3 people, Tom, myself, and one of our designers working together to make the last polishing things, talking about assets, things, because there are things that you need to do on the go, okay? Because that's the moment that you force the things to work synchronously, okay? But it was just 1 hour, okay, of really fully focused alignment of the whole team to make that last push, because there are moments we need to distinguish when synchronous and asynchronous make sense, okay, because it's not just that one thing is good and the other one is bad. No, there are moments that it makes sense to work synchronously, and there are some other moments that make much more sense to work asynchronously, and having a system that allows to quickly do that. And it was amazing because I was seeing in real time how we was communicating with the other members of the team to have everything pretty well aligned. And I have to see that to say that the moment that you see that everything works without friction, it's a sense of release, of control, of knowing that things will go right, that no matter, of course, there were mistakes, but you can perfectly correct the things the moment that you can perfectly detect them, communicate them, put everything together. Everyone knows how to deal with those things. And because people think that the moment that they have the opportunity, everything is perfect. No, man. The thing is that you can fight against imperfection, okay? You can resolve mistakes. You can better handle unexpected things, because there are many things in complexity. When things are complex, you depend on many things, and many things can fail. The thing, and I think that the difference here is how you respond to that unexpected thing, to that failure. Does it take time, or it's something that you can quickly manage, no matter the number of people that they should be working on that? And I think that all those type of things is that sense of security that a productivity system brings to place, and how you take the best out of each of those tools. Here we have mentioned Heptabase, we have mentioned Tana, we have mentioned ClickUp, we have mentioned Intelbas. We haven't mentioned additional systems like, for instance, Dropbox, that we use for the file management system that we need to upload the files. Well, we are talking about interacting here with 7 or 8 different tools, okay? So that's why we consider that one tool for everything is what makes, things really difficult the moment that you face these type of things, because you need to use the right tools for the right things that they were designed for. And that's what we have done. We have used Heptabase, what was designed for, ClickUp for its main purpose, Tana, intervals, okay? Every single piece of software was dedicated to be used the way they were conceived. And I think that that's also pretty important, okay? The combination of tools, concepts, and workflows, and all the team knowing what this is all about, because this is something that it's important, okay? The moment that you are just isolated and with your team, you don't share the things, well, you're gonna find friction, okay? That's why we also cover the team area, that it's something that many productivity methodologies don't take into account, okay? They are fully focused on the individual, but the thing is that a VC professional is always working with a team and needs to have the right concepts and workflows to work with the team, okay? No matter that they are not fully committed to the ICOR methodology, okay? But you can make that work possible, and that's what we also make with people even out of our companies, okay? How you work with freelancers or with some other people, you help them work better thanks to ICOR. And I think that that's also something important to mention.
Exactly. And if you haven't already signed up to the ICOR Journey Starter Kit, even if you're already a member, it's worth going through this to get this holistic view on ICOR, on how we approach productivity in the business area. Well, in our busy lives, let's put it this way, as professionals, then check it out. You see then the result, what we can deliver in 2 weeks now with our system running. Let us know how you like it, and we'll catch you up in the next week then.
For sure. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.